This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 1194 of Horse Tip Daily, your almost everyday morsel of helpful hints, useful facts, and practical techniques for horse folks. Brought to you today by EquestrianCollections.com. Greetings, horse people. Coach Jen here, and thanks for tuning in to Horse Tip Daily. Today's tip features driving radio show co-host Glenn the Geek and a little help from Susie from the American Driving Society, and they're going to discuss a list of good-to-know tips to make your carriage outings safe and fun. And we'll get right to our tip after this from EquestrianCollections.com. Well, hi, everybody. Coach Jen here from Horse Radio Network, and I'm with Debbie from EquestrianCollections.com. And once again, she's got our product of the week from EquestrianCollection.com. What have you got for us, Debbie?
Well, hi, Jen. First, I want to shout out to some of our fans out there who mention on their emails to Equestrian Collections that they listen to the radio show and that they enjoy it. So keep those comments coming, and any suggestions, let me know. This week, I want to feature the Noble Outfitters Wound Care Large Animal Spray. This stuff works. It is so good, and we have it in 8-ounce and 5-ounce sizes. It's very safe. I mean, when we first had a rep come by, she puts it on her apples because she's allergic to stuff that they put on the apples in the store. It's food grade. It's safe for eyes, ears, nose, and mouth. And it doesn't, like in the winter, some of the similar items can't deal with the cold weather. This is fine in cold weather. And I'm telling you, it works. You know, I do a lot of trail riding, and my horse gets ticks, and I take them off every time. But sometimes they leave a little bite mark, and I have used this thing, and I'm telling you, overnight, one day he put a little boo-boo on his head at the hay bunk, at the round bale bunk, put this stuff on. By the next day, it was almost healed. I'm telling you, this stuff is great. I certainly recommend trying the Noble Outfitters Wound Care Large Animal Spray. Keep it around your farm. Use it on those little cuts and abrasions that come up, you know, when they hit themselves boo-boo and stuff like that. Excellent stuff. Give it a try.
There you go. Recommended from Debbie, who has lots of horses who are just as good at getting boo-boos as yours are. The Noble Outfitters Wound Care small and large animal. They have it in the foam and the spray at EquestrianCollections.com.
And everybody's itching to get back on the trail. So I thought we might discuss a few little tips for helping to make your trail driving experience a safe one.
Okay, cool. You know, that's the thing I like to do. That's my favorite.
I do too. I enjoy very much trail driving. I have done some distance drives before with my little pony, and they are a ton of fun because it's no frills, no muss, no fuss, and you just get out and drive a lot, and they're very fun. And some of these things that we're going to talk about today, I did interact with or experience on some of the drives that I've been on. So I just thought I'd share some tips with everybody to just have some helpful reminders.
All right.
The number one ultimate ADS rule is never, ever remove your bridle while your horse is hitched to the carriage. And sometimes your horse has other ideas about its bridle being on or off. And especially in the spring, if you have hairy, woolly beasts, they love to rub their heads on each other or on you or on a tree or fence post or something like that may be near them that they can reach. So you may want to think about investing in a gullet strap, which is a strap that goes from the throat latch down to the end of the bridle. Underneath to the cavesson, and you can attach that so the horse has a harder time of rubbing it off. If you don't want to invest in something like that, the other thing you can always do is braid a piece of their mane through their bridle so they have a harder time of trying to rub it off when it's more attached to them, because that's really a number one.
I always went with the strap. I wasn't so good at braiding.
Yeah. And well, my ponies have shorter manes, so I don't have the braiding thing. But I have had a horse rub a bridle off while standing there. Luckily, she was tied up and wasn't hitched, but she did rub it off in a heartbeat. And it was like, wow, can't believe that thing fell off that fast.
And by the way, you only make that mistake usually once before you learn your lesson.
Exactly. and hopefully it's in the same
And you
situation.
hope your cart's still in one piece when you're done on your horse.
Yeah. Another thing, when you're getting out your equipment and stuff for the beginning of the year, do a quick harness check. Take your harness apart, check all the pieces, make sure there isn't any stitching that's come undone or that a nasty little mouse maybe has helped itself to some of your part of your harness. Check all the staples if you have staples in your harness or something like that, to make sure that it's still safe for you to use.
And maybe even clean it.
That is a good thing too. Actually, when you clean it is usually when you find those little oops-a-daisies. Man, better find a harness maker to fix something like that. I did have that one time. I took my harness apart, was cleaning it, and noticed my one of my tugs had just the stitching had totally come out. And I was going to hitch up and drive that day, and I probably would have had a whoops-a-daisy if I didn't catch that when I cleaned it. The other thing, double check your carriage. Make sure that your shafts are all good, that your wheels rotate. If you can, make sure that you properly grease your hubs, and make sure that everybody's carriage, a lot of them are different. So I'm not going to talk about wheel care, nor am I an authority on that at all. That's my husband's job. But it's a good idea to check and make sure that if you have brakes, that you have brake fluid, that they're not seized up through the winter, anything like that, because you definitely don't want to have an accident based on your carriage not being working properly.
I violated one of these. I'm looking at your list here. It says, do not lead your horse from the ground while it is put to a vehicle. I think we've all done that.
Yeah, that's, because if they spook or something like that.
I know. I know why you're not supposed to.
I think we all know why we're not supposed to do a lot of things, but sometimes the rules get bent a tad, and we just want to have that chance to remind ourselves that, expect the unexpected and be prepared so you can drive again another day. A trainer up in Massachusetts area, Mark Johnson, I think he's been on the show, in fact.
Yep.
Mark told me a saying one time that I remember very well, and it's very cute. It says, a good day of driving is a day that you can reuse your equipment. So it makes sense to take care of it and make sure that it doesn't get broken because of some inadvertent thing that you forgot.
We actually, depending on where we were going, we'd put the bicycle flag up. Just because we had so many hills, if somebody's car came over the top, and didn't see you, you were done. So
bicycle flags are great. Even now, they have these great little clip-on strobe lights for bicycles.
Yep.
That fit perfect around the piping on a carriage. I use them all the time on my marathon vehicle. I just attach them onto the back of my carriage. So I've got little flashing lights on the back. Inexpensive, they're $10 or $12, but I have to drive on a very windy road, not up and down, but side to side. And so there's sometimes when there's blind curves, and people come around those curves pretty quickly, and hopefully that'll attract their attention enough to slow down and be careful of me.
There is one more on here I want to mention, and that we don't always think about is if you meet a rider, stop the carriage. Riding horses are often afraid of you. I've been going out so much. I used to be the only carriage with a bunch of riding horses when we go out, for trail rides, that I got so used to just being around riding horses that you do forget that some of them just don't like their carriage.
Right. And actually, something that you also wouldn't think about that I experienced was they're afraid of your whip.
Yeah, I didn't think about that because it's so long and everything.
Yep. I had a rider that asked me, I stopped and I'd pulled over to the side of the road and her horse was kind of having a hissy. And, I said, is there something I can do? She said, I think it's your whip. So I moved my whip to the other side of my horse so her horse couldn't see it. And then he walked by me just fine.
That's a good point. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, something that we consider, it's a tool for us. It's a training aid. It's an extension of your leg, our whip. Your whip is just part of your hand. To another riding horse, they may have never been worked with in that sort of respect, and that snaky thing out there might be a little scary for them.
Right. Well, these are all great. Now, where can people find the rest of this list?
This is a list that's provided by the American Driving Society, and it's on the Trail Guide page on the American Driving Society website, americandrivingsociety.org.
Well, there you have it. This podcast was made possible through the generous support of EquestrianCollections.com and listeners like you. This is Coach Jen, and I'll be back again soon with another tip. So until then, go ride your horse. The Horse Radio Network and the Horse Radio Network hosts are not responsible for statements of guests or their opinions. Use your own judgment when listening to the tips provided by the experts on Horse Tip Daily.